Goodbye Vitamin is the debut novel from Rachel Khong that isn't about eggs, and I should probably explain. Rachel, up until recently, was the executive editor for the now shuttered magazine Lucky Peach that married food and writing and was funded in part by David Chang of Momofuku fame. There she helped pen the cookbook all about eggs, everything we know about the world's most important food. So technically this is her second book. But anyway, in Goodbye Vitamin, we meet 30-year-old Rachel Young. She's in the process of moving to her new apartment with her fiancé Joel. And then on the day of the move, surrounded by her boxes in an empty apartment, she finds out that Joel is not in fact moving into the apartment with her and will be staying at their old place with his new girlfriend. Harsh. So she leaves San Francisco, goes to Los Angeles, spend Christmas with her family, where she finds out that her father is exhibiting the early signs of Alzheimer's. He's already been let go from his history job at the nearby college due to some erratic behavior, and her mom has asked her to stick around for a year to help out. Now I know, this sounds like a barrel of laughs so far, but stick with me here. Goodbye Vitamin isn't about the breakup. It's not even a Lifetime Channel movie about Alzheimer's. Khong doesn't dwell. She doesn't get mired in the maudlin or seized by sentiment. She works with a light touch. She's just taking note. And it's proven to be the most favorite of my books in this strange confluence of books that feature women in their late 20s, early 30s, just trying to figure their shit out. They're all caught in a great big in-between, not quite established career-wise, and navigating relationships, their personal ambitions, as well as the expectations of their parents. Goodbye Vitamin is written in fragments, these tiny vignettes that are held together in a diary format that provides just enough cohesion for me to latch onto, unlike WikiWing's chemistry that felt scattered and fragmented. And I'm halfway through Patricia Lockwood's pre-study, which is proving the funniest of the three. Lockwood has got a distinct knack for a turn of phrase that just floors me every time. But Goodbye Vitamin is in that Goldilocks zone. It is just a year in the life. There's no real beginning. There's no real end. There's no tidy resolution. It's just this keyhole in which to view a life. And this curtailed view produces this gem-like story that is as warm and familiar as your mom's cooking. Given Khong's history, it's natural that food play a part. Food can invoke memories of childhood and home. Ruth in the story enjoys peanuts and ranch dressing, and later on, over tumblers of vodka, has carrots dipped in sugar. Now, neither of which I've ever heard of, but frankly, I'm a little surprised by the number of you that have never heard or even had poutine, which hardly seems exotic to us here in Southern Ontario. We have restaurants devoted to the variations of poutine. We still have places that serve Newfie fries, which are fries covered in stuffing, covered in gravy. And of course, my latest obsession is shawarma poutine, which is fries, cheese curds, gravy, chicken shawarma covered in garlic sauce, shawarma sauce, and sriracha. It sounds like an abomination, but believe me, it is fantastic. All of this talk of food gets me thinking about the food that reminds me of my childhood. There seems to be this trend towards fat and chocolate. I remember growing up loving toast slathered in butter that I would dip in my hot chocolate. And my wife used to take white bread, slather it in margarine, and put chocolate sprinkles on it. A mutual friend of ours' mother took it to its most horrible extreme. While she was pregnant, she used to love Mars bars dredged in butter. But she was always that little bit extra. What about you guys? Are there foods that remind you of your childhood or home? I'd love to know in the comments below. One more of a nod to my Korean background. I remember standing around our kitchen island, which was a dishwasher topped with a wooden top, and we'd have cold ham hock dipped in gochujang and served with raw garlic. And it was so good. I digress. The book isn't about food. Khong here is exploring the idea of memory. After a breakup with Joel, Ruth thinks about how their memories veer off in different directions. As she puts it, I realized I could remember something and he could remember something different. And if we built up a store of separate memories, how would that work? And would that be okay? And the answer, of course, in the end, was no. Ruth is recording present moments in her diary, which bookends nicely to the memories her father had jotted down when Ruth was a child in this old notebook that he hands over to Ruth at the beginning of the year. In them he writes, "Today we went over to your mother's friend's house for dinner. We'd asked you to be polite, so you said, 'No more, please. It's horrible. Thank you.' Or you were distressed because your pair of gloves had gone missing. When I asked you for a description, you said they are sort of shaped like my hands." These are contrasted with Ruth recording moments with her father in the present. "Today you held your open hand out and I shook the pills into it, same as every day. Fish oil, magnesium, vitamins D and C and A, ginkgo biloba. Hello, water, you said, holding the glass against the moonlight and shaking the pills like they were dice you were ready to roll in your other hand. Goodbye, vitamin. It's this tone that pervades the book, duly noting, contending with her father's alcoholism and philandering, and how that destroyed her younger brother who witnessed the worst of it while Ruth was off at college, and how their memories of their father differ as a result, and then the perspective of their mother who lived through all of this and still stayed by his side, and why that is. It's like heavy stuff, but lightly done, maybe frustratingly so for some people, but it struck just the right tone for me. And then there's this note Ruth finds among her father's observations. Today I thought of what I would give to have time just stop here. You're out of my league. I'm waiting for the day you're going to leave me. I'd give all the money I've got, my entire set of teeth, that special silver dollar your grandfather gave me and said would be worth $300,000 by the time you were in college. Any of it, all of it, just to keep you here. With the daughter heading off to university in a few short days, this, above all else, just slayed me. I mean, I'm thinking about the distant past, projecting to this unknown future, and realizing I am anchored here in the moment, and there are no answers here, just moments, followed by more moments. And this is the swirling epicenter of the book. I mean, my wife and I have no idea what September is going to bring as empty nesters. This channel may have to segue into focusing on gardening, jigsaw puzzles, and complaining about my aching joints, but we'll see what fall brings. But in the meantime, I'm serious. I do want to know what you remember eating as a child, what invokes childhood memories as far as food goes. I'd love to know in the comments below, but in the meantime, I hope you have all a great week of reading, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.